more and more your average Joe Schmo that you may know is starting to see at the end of the day, the DNC is not the place to be.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk a doubter, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
There's a lot to learn from that campaign, and I'm excited to learn more.
What about concerns from some of your Jewish colleagues in particular about him not outright condemning the phrase globalize the intifada in a recent interview? Some of your Jewish colleagues have said that that could be very disturbing, potentially dangerous. Do you agree with that?
You know, there's no candidate in this party that I agree 100% of the time with, to be honest with you. There's things that I don't agree with Mamdani that he said, but at the end of the day, I always believe, as a Democratic Party chair in Minnesota for the last 14 years, and now the chair of the DNC, that you win through addition. You win by bringing people into your coalition. We have conservative Democrats, we have centrist Democrats, we have labor progressives like me, and we have this new brand of Democrat, which is the leftists. And we win by bringing people into that coalition. And at the end of the day, for me, that's the type of party we're going to lead. We are a big tent party. Yes, it leads to dissent and debate, and there's differences of opinions on a whole host of issues. But we should celebrate that as a party and recognize at the end of the day, we're better because of it.
That was the new chair of the DNC, Ken Doll Martin, all polished and pretty there for the cameras. They had some smug kid that was slated to take that position, but they shoved him out the door. They had some DEI hire that, of course, they'll never admit was a DEI hire. They shoved her out the door and put this shining new star at the top of the heap, at the top of the tent. What kind of tent? Apparently a circus tent with all kinds of clowns and freaks. A delightful array of clowns and freaks. By the way, it's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, your one and only hardcore, fierce and sexy underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. And you're watching the MC Too Tall show. Now back to what this DNC chair is saying. In between his at the end of the day, and at the end of the day. So in between all that, he says, well, I'm not going to fully agree with his failure to condemn global intifada, which is essentially is global terrorism and wiping out anything that isn't a Muslim. Remember, this isn't strictly focused on the Jews. This is to wipe out anything that is not a hardcore Muslim. And so he's not going to kind of sort of fully agree with that, but we're a big tent. A big tent where you let every variety of clown and freak and murderer, rapist, international terrorist, and hardline communist and socialist. And your conservative Democrats? Is there such a... There's no such thing as a conservative Democrat. There hasn't been in so many years. I don't think even I was alive when there was last a conservative Democrat. I mean, it's like the Epstein list. It went through the paper shredder and doesn't exist anymore. But here we are. Here we are at the end of the day, as the DNC chair would say, at the end of the day. And this clown, this well-polished clown, it's no surprise to me that he's from Minnesota. We're getting a lot of clownish, buffoonish stuff. I feel so bad for Mike Lindell, man. I feel so bad for Mike Lindell. I mean, I would say the same thing for Jesse Ventura, but he's gone woke too, unfortunately. But here, again, we got to deal with this stuff. We got to deal with this stuff. We got to deal with people like Ken the Ken doll Martin. And boy, oh boy, he sure knows how to polish up intifada and socialism and breadlines that wrap around the block. Boy, oh boy, he sure knows how to make that a clean-cut, all-American sounding thing now, doesn't he? Because it's a big tent. It's a big tent of freaks that hate normal America. They hate normal people like John A. Krantz. That's me talking about myself in third person. But anyway, this is what we're dealing with day in, day out when dealing with these liberals. They're not even trying to hide it. They're not even trying to hide it. They're leaving you less and less surface to scratch to see their true colors, to see their true intent, to see their true evils. And boy, oh boy, there sure are a lot of evils to uncover. And again, not much surface to scratch anymore. It's a very deliberately weak effort to hide it now. It's almost like, yeah, we kind of want to kill conservatives and jail them and stuff, but yeah, at the end of the day, you know, their case is getting weaker and weaker of why you should vote Democrat. And yeah, your average Joe Schmo that you might know, that always argued with you, that always spoke anti-Trump, he might still, to save face, talk his anti-Trump crap, but you'll start seeing him backing Republicans, pretending not to know that those Republicans have backed up and endorsed Donald Trump. You're gonna see things like that. You're gonna see people like, I hate Donald Trump. But you know what? This Sliwa guy running for mayor is pretty good. I'm gonna vote for him. Which your vote is welcome, but don't bullshit me, okay? You're going MAGA because it's the closest thing to normal now. As a matter of fact, it's the only thing that's normal right now. Everything else is some weird, freaky, child sexualizing, globalist, global intifada, communist, socialist, kill the opposition kind of thing. That all fits neatly in the big tent, as Ken the Ken doll Martin said in that PBS interview. Because you know PBS, they love throwing them hardball questions. They love hitting hard on those liberals. You'll never see a softball just lopped over to a liberal on PBS now. So, PBS, the P in PBS stands for public, which means it should be supported by the public and not by force, voluntarily supported by the public, which means it should not be supported by government. So people who get mad when there's no government funding for PBS, Sesame Street will still survive, okay? They'll just have to cut their Iraq program. They just have to scrap the idea of intifada Ernie. And making the Cookie Monster out to be some angry random Hasidic Jew leaving the synagogue to eat up Muslim children instead of cookies. You know, they just have to like cut that part out. But we'll be all right. We're gonna be all right if this big tent, this big circus tent of evil is the opposition, I think the normal side of society is going to be all right. I have some serious doubts that Zohran Mamdani will win, but get out there and vote anyway. I don't agree with you people out there that say they like Sliwa more than Adams, but are going to vote Adams anyway. Vote for who you like. If you like Sliwa more, then friggin' go out there and vote for him. And don't assume it's a wasted vote. You know how people are scared like that? Don't vote according to somebody else's fear, because then that fear becomes your fear. You cut that out, all right? And when I say something is in God's hands, it's because I put a lot of things in God's hands. Hell, I do major automotive repairs. Sometimes I get into the job not knowing what to do, and I pray to God for guidance, and God guides me through that major automotive repair. And this repair, where if something would have went wrong, somebody could have died, it turns out to be a success. The vehicle drives out safely, and the driver can take his wife, his children, his elderly in-laws across country in that vehicle, worry-free, because I repaired that car with the help of God's guidance. Respect God, watch out for the Illuminati, follow and share my wonderful content, tell all your friends about me, and don't be gross. Stay strong, keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. And you be safe out there. Be safe.